Right, so I'm out here, Milner Field House in the snow. First time I've ever been in the snow, and it's quite enchanting. The sun's quite low, so yeah, we've got everything melting from the branches. So just thought I'd give you a little look around the ground floor. Where I'm stood now would have been the library, which is now, and the mound of rubble behind there was just piled up. It's not actually another floor. That's the just all the brickwork and stone and everything piled up. This would have been the ground level. And if you look down here, you can see the outer wall there. It goes all the way around, all the way down. It wasn't a very deep house, but it was quite long breadthways. When we get to the other side, you'll see the conservatory or orangery. So I'm just going to walk up here now and get past the little climb over the mound of rubble, and you'll be able to see. Here we go. This side, the kitchens and sculleries. This house had everything built back in the late 1860s. It had water piped in from local springs. It had an underground reservoir as well. They had telephones to the mill and eventually to the family's house in Lightcliffe in Halifax, which was quite a feat for the day for that time. They had big walk-in chilled refrigeration and storage rooms just down there. It's still possible to access the cellar as it is in the stables further down, but you'd have to be pretty skinny to get down there because it's quite a narrow gap, although you can see that people have been down there, and the cellars go underneath quite extensively. So yeah, if we just I'm just going to walk over the remaining bits of architecture here, and right now stood on another huge mound of rubble stonework, which is still just strewn around. And then down again, the other side of where it's all piled up, this would have been the hallway. This way down there, I've just showed you going to the terrace. The main entrance down to steps to front courtyard, and in here where I'm standing now, I'll just swing this around so you can see. This would have been the main hall, reception, entrance room, whatever you want to call it. And then through here at the back, you would have had another doorway up to the back courtyard, and that led up to the road, the coach road, and on the far side there would have been the croquet lawn. These guys loved their croquet. It's everything you'd expect of a you know, kind of 1800s Gothic mansion house. Boudoirs, billiard room, which we'll get to in a second, is just over there. It was a very splendid place, and they spared no expense on anything. It was state of the art, and it was, I just ducked down under there, it was the height of society in that day and age. And the royal visits from I think Princess Beatrice and Henry of Battenberg, and also Prince and Princess of Wales. And there's still photos of them planting trees on the royal visit, except on one photo in particular. I think Sir Titus Salt's son wasn't there to attend, so they basically did the 1870s equivalent of Photoshop, and they plastered his photo on top afterwards. So, you know, if you thought photoshopping was a recent thing, sorry, they beat you to it, as with most stuff. Right, so this is the highest point, and from here, look all the way down there to the main entrance hall, and over there would have been the back of the house. Like I say, it wasn't actually that deep it was more of a kind of the breadth that gave them all the room and the space. And the views would have been, before the trees were here, the views would have been fantastic. We'll see if we can get to that. But looking down here, just duck and dive here. This area here, which again is piled up with rubble, and it's amazing how quickly just this last few years the ivy has taken over everything. You used to be able to see much of this and see the steps at the bottom, the original steps from the 1500s, 1600s, the original Milner Field house, but now everything's kind of just been taken over by the marsh and ivy. So here we would have had the drawing room. So yeah, imagine the conversations that would have taken place in there, you know, over God knows what, business, family, everything. You know, royalty sat in there with the feet up, smoking the cigars, drinking the brandy and whatnot, and you know, plotting the devious dark days of the corrupt British Empire as it was. I'm not saying the salt was corrupt, but you know, it all linked together, I guess, in the end. So there's quite a bit of what looks like snowfall, but it's just melting with the sun. The sun's going to be down in an hour or so. So here we've got right, taking around the edge of the building, and you can see down here, this is the far corner wall, and here, if we go around, you can see that we've got much more debris, and then we've got this drop here. So if we look down here, what you're seeing there where these big stone mullions are, and there's iron girders as well, probably from one of the floors, that would have been the billiard room. Now that was, as history tells it, that's where Sir Titus Salt Jr. was found dead one morning, and thus began the actual curse of Milner Field House, although there is some written history before that, so we don't know what actually occurred before, but there is a private book in the hands of the family that used to own Milner Field. So all of the house there, up until this point here, would have been built on top of the original house, Elizabethan, I believe it was, early Elizabethan. And the remainder, which is this side, we've got the orangery, the greenhouse, whatever you would like to call it, which is quite big, but that actually adjacent onto the billiard room there. And then just beyond the billiard room, there was a small room called the turning room. I'm not sure what they used to turn in there, but I've been trying to find out what that means, or what a turning room would be used for. It's only a short, small corridor type of room. Not really sure, but I'll try and someone trying to ring me. So yeah, I'm not quite sure what that would have been, but I just kind of hop over. This would have been the pathway to from the house to the orangery. Again, the outer wall, all the stonework just collapsed into, well, where the floor for that corridor to the orangery would have been. And then as you make our way down here, probably see, if I just point this down a little bit, there's the edge of the boundary into the billiard room. So this area would have been covered in glass ceiling frame, which would have been the orangery. And if you've seen pictures of that, you'd have seen it was very, very green and very, very opulent. It would have been a nice place to sit, presumably heated, nice and warm. And I'm not quite sure, we can't see the mosaic floor today, it's covered in snow, but I'll see if I can find a bit of it to show you and get through here. Excuse me while I just yeah, there we go. So you can see some of it still in there. Somebody's taken a big chunk out the middle at some point, I presume as a souvenir, or it's been damaged. So yeah, looking back on the house there, you see the type of scale of it. The outer wall of the terrace runs down here, and then as we go up here past the orangery, this would have been the end of it. You can see this land would have been gardens, landscape gardens. They hired I think one of the top landscape gardeners in Britain or Europe at the time. I think it was a chap called Andrew Marsh. Obviously nature's reclaimed all of this and there's not much left of that. Just trees taken over, you know, close to 100 years of degradation, and you know, we've been knocked down and blown up and whatnot. And here we'll be walking towards what is land down there is now part of Milner Field Farm, Crowther's Farm, I believe. The lovely fresh free-range eggs and nice raw milk, all that. In this day and age where, you know, food is being messed with so much, it's nice to have a farm nearby. And then finally, if we walk up here, you can again see the back plinth or terrace of the house leading up to the back, because this is built on an incline, on a slope, so to speak. And then over here we've got, coming into another area that's strewn with stone and rubble. So we've got up there what would have been the stables. The stable building, as I just get back up this hillock here, stable building was quite modern and heated as well, and has its own cellar too. And just one thing to show you while I'm here is everybody's favourite tree, which is this big beauty here, which is pretty enormous. Looks like a beech, I believe, but a very old one. It's going to be sort of 800-900 years old. Very Sleepy Hollow, very a lot of people think it was a hanging tree from the original house, or wherever the original manor was there. But again, all that's tied up in the book at Milner Field with the family. So right here, these would have been the stables, with the entrance point, I believe, just down there, back where we've come from. So here we've got way in there, which is covered by mullion, and then another one down there, and the rest of it just haphazardly pulled to the ground. So that concludes the downstairs tour on the field. I just thought it'd be nicer to do that in the snow, and seeing as there's nobody around, seeing as it's shut down, and yeah, it's just really peaceful today, really peaceful indeed. See lots of footprints in the snow, lots of little fox prints and things. I just heard a couple of owls. I think they're up a bit early, but yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed that little peek round into the life of the salts to see, you know, what is left of it. All right, bye for now.